Transparency is the lifeblood of democracy, and if a government is truly of the people, by the people, and for the people, the American people need to know what our government is doing on their behalf. Transparency also gives our citizens the opportunity to make informed decisions, to hold accountable those in government that will abuse or perhaps mismanage the public resources. You know, it is those hard-working American taxpayers that really fund everything that we do, and so we need to keep them in mind. And this particular hearing is really to examine the Freedom of Information Act, the tool that it provides, obviously dating back to 1966 when it was originally put in place as a foundational transparency law. And as we've seen it come into practice, those presumptions of allowing federal records to have be accessible to the public is a critical component. Americans really have the desire and the need to know. They're looking in the age of the internet as we start to see information that is coming out. It is critical that that information from our government gets placed in the hands of the American taxpayers. Obviously, sensitive information is something that we need to protect and do that, but under this particular law, what we have seen over and over again is a lack of compliance, a lack of transparency, and unfortunately, when that happens, a lack of trust follows it. And what this is all about is looking at reforms. The ranking member and I both agree that in order to restore trust, you have to have that transparency. With that said, though, there are over 700,000 requests that get made of the federal government each and every year. And so some of those requests can be very laborious. So what we're looking for from our witnesses are to look at how do we streamline the process? How do we make sure that the American people get what they need, that the federal government responds accordingly, and that we put in place a system that truly works? And so we are very thankful for our witnesses that are here today. Chairman Issa and Ranking Member Cummings addressed some of this in a bill last Congress, and indeed they have introduced a similar bill this year, which is H.R. 653, which is the FOIA Oversight and Implementation Act. That particular bill addresses a number of concerns, but what I'm interested to hear from our witnesses today, does it go far enough? What do we need to do? What are some other areas that perhaps the ranking member and I can work on in a bipartisan way to make sure that the American people are informed? And I thank you, and with that, I would recognize the ranking member for his opening statement.